trying to act like we're getting back into this marriage full-fledged. I'm not trying to do that.
Like, at this point, I don't know what the rest of my life is going to look like.
Is TLC finally pulling the plugger? Doubling down on the biggest scandal in reality television? Whispers are turning into roars about Sister Wives Season 20, and 2025 may be the year everything explodes. From Robyn's alleged exile to Cody's secret, contract renegotiations, the internet is buzzing with rumors of a production freeze, missing footage, and a spin-off betrayal that could fracture the Brown legacy forever. Why is Christine suddenly back on set? Why is Janelle refusing to film without a therapist present? And who leaked the Vegas tapes that fans were never supposed to hear? If you thought Season 18 was wild, Season 20 is pure TNT. Buckle up. Because the Brown family's darkest hour might be their last one on screen. It was past midnight in Flagstaff, and the silence in Robyn Brown's bedroom was the kind that doesn't soothe, it suffocates. The blinds were drawn, the air still, and every object in the room felt like it was holding its breath. On the nightstand, a phone screen glowed faintly in the darkness. One missed call. Garrison. No voicemail, no second attempt, just a name suspended in the digital void, waiting. Robyn hadn't told anyone about the call, not even Cody, not when it came in, not after, especially not after. She let it sit there, buried beneath texts, alerts, and time. But it never really disappeared because that silence, it wasn't absence, it was a decision. Months later, during a brutal custody dispute between the Browns and one of the former wives, a private investigator was hired. No one thought they'd find much, just documentation, timestamps, maybe a few suspicious texts. What they unearthed, instead, was a locked audio file hidden in an encrypted folder on Robyn's old device backup. It was labeled with nothing more than a date. A date that, in hindsight, no one would ever forget. The call had been recorded not by accident, but by Garrison himself, a habit he'd picked up in the military. To document everything, especially what hurts. And in that call, his voice didn't beg, didn't break, it bled. You destroyed this family. You and Dad, Garrison had said, voice steady, as if every word had already been rehearsed in his soul. He doesn't call, he doesn't visit, and it's not because of use, it's because of you. He thinks we're the enemy. Robyn's reply was muffled, but clear enough to damn her. Maybe it's better this way. Maybe you should have just stayed quiet, obedient. The leak detonated like a buried landmine, not just because of what was said, but because of when it was said. The call wasn't weeks old. It was made just days before Garrison died. A missed call, a rejected truth, a son reaching out one last time, an ode to reconcile, but to be heard. And in that silence, a legacy of abandonment was sealed forever. The audio file hit the internet like a thunderclap. No title, no intro, no context, just raw breath, cold words. And Garrison's voice pulling the curtain back on everything the family had worked to hide. Within hours, it was everywhere. Podcasts played it line by line. Reaction videos froze on Robyn's voice. Mental health advocates stitched it into cautionary tales. The press called it the call that cracked the Browns, but for the family, it didn't crack, it collapsed. Cody was in Las Vegas, pacing the hotel room between scheduled talks at a men's convention. When he clicked the anonymous link in his inbox and hit play, the floor fell out from under him. No, 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 no. He kept repeating, pawing at the phone like he could stop it. But the words kept coming. Garrison's voice kept coming. And when Robyn's line echoed, maybe it's better this way, Cody dropped to his knees beside the bed. He didn't cry. He just stared because deep down he knew this wasn't new. It was just undeniable now. Janelle heard the call from a friend who asked, "Have you listened yet?" By the second minute, she was on the kitchen floor sobbing into her arms. Christine didn't cry. She sat in silence, phone flat on the table, unmoving. I knew all along. She whispered to herself, but it hurts more hearing it in his voice. Mary posted a quote on Instagram later that night. White text on a black screen. Lies have short legs, but the truth stands tall even when it's too late. No caption, no tags. Even TLC was forced to issue a statement. We are deeply saddened by the tragic loss of Garrison Brown and are actively reviewing how sensitive material was obtained and released. But by then, it didn't matter. The tape had already done what years of denial hadn't. It told the truth, and that truth had a name, a voice, and a timestamp, just days before he died. They gathered in silence, not as castmates or spouses, but as fractured remnants of what used to be a family. TLC had arranged the space like a neutral Zonino staged couches or scripted prompts. It's just a long wooden table under harsh white lights, like a courtroom disguised as a reunion. Robyn sat at one end, hands trembling in her lap. Cody was beside her, but distant, his body present in spirit elsewhere. On the other side sat Mary, Christine, and Janelle Leach with a kind of stillness that didn't feel like calm, but readiness. They had not come to heal, they had come to confront. Mary was the first to speak. Her voice didn't shake, but it carried the weight of 1,000 unsaid things. You told him it was better this way, she said slowly, every word deliberate. Tell me, Robyn, what did you mean by that? Robyn flinched like the words themselves had slapped her. Her lip quivered. I didn't mean it like that. Okay, Mary didn't blink. But you said it. The air cracked with the silence that followed. Christine's eyes glistened, arms folded tight against her chest. Janelle looked down, refusing to give Robyn even the comfort of eye contact. Cody finally turned to speak, but barely managed to whisper. We didn't know he was that broken. Mary slammed her hand against the table. We knew. We chose to look away. Robyn collapsed into herself, sobbing, not the performative kind viewers had grown used to, but something raw, desperate, and past repair. Still, no one moved to comfort her. Because in that room, comfort had to be earned. As the cameras rolled, a line from Gabriel's private message echoed in every heart. He needed your love, not your excuses. And now he was gone. It began with a group chat, small, private, created by Janelle as a fragile space for healing. She'd added the kids from all sides, including Dayton, Aurora, Brianna, and Solomon. No accusations, no agendas, just a digital room where grief could speak. For days, it was quiet, soft condolences and emojis that said more than words. Then Dayton spoke. His message wasn't long, but it cracked the silence open. Mom, I heard the call too. I can't pretend anymore. Aurora followed. An hour later, you said things I can't unhear. I used to believe people just misunderstood you. Now, I'm not sure I knew you at all. No one responded, not even Robyn. The silence on her end was its own answer. A few minutes later, Brianna quietly left the chat. Then Solomon. The icons vanished one by one, like lights blinking out in a hallway until only Robyn remained, typing, erasing, typing again. No one answered. The exits weren't just digital. Dayton moved into student housing across town. Aurora packed 2 suitcases and drove to Christine's in Utah. Solomon was temporarily placed with Cody's sister as custody paperwork shifted. Robyn, for the first time, had no one left in the house. The noise, the chaos, the excuses, they were all gone. What remained was dust in corners, unopened mail, and the constant hum of grief settling in the walls. She wandered from room to room like a ghost in her own life. The drapes she once kept immaculate now hung limp, sunstead, and crooked. The hallway mirror still reflected a mother, but not one her children recognized anymore. What hurt most wasn't what they said, it was what they didn't. No goodbye, no confrontation, just quiet withdrawal. Just the sound of the door closing behind them, and the echo of a single buried truth. He was my brother, too. Janelle didn't knock. She hadn't planned to come back. Not after the reunion. Not after watching Robyn's tears fall like broken glass and never cut deep enough. But something in Aurora's voice when she arrived crying in Utah had snapped the last thread. Robyn wasn't just grieving. She was rewriting the story again, quietly painting herself into the center of the tragedy that couldn't stand. The door creaked open. Robyn was sitting in the dim kitchen, hunched over a cup that had gone cold. She looked up, startled. Mascara. Dry and flaked. Her hair a tangle of days that had run together. "What are you doing here?" Her voice rasped. Janelle didn't flinch. To finish this, to say what needs saying, and to make sure you don't twist it into another soba story. Robyn blinked slow and glassy. "You don't understand. I understand perfectly." Janelle stepped forward. "You don't get to play the victim anymore. Not after what you said to Garrison. Not after what you let Cody become. Every tear you shed was a choice. Every silence, a strategy. This family didn't fall apart around you. It's collapsed because of you." Robyn's hands trembled around the mug. "I never meant to." "You didn't lose them?" Janelle snapped. "You chased them off." The room went quiet, so quiet even the walls seemed to recoil. Janelle walked to the mantel where an old photo still stood, smiling faces from a time before Robyn arrived. She pulled a folded note from her pocket and placed it beside the frame. "That's from Aurora," she said without turning. "She says she'll come back when you stop lying to yourself." Robyn made no move to pick it up. Janelle left the house in silence. This time, she didn't look back. It began with a sentence no sibling should ever have to read. If I disappear, Garrison's draft email buried in the depths of an old laptop wasn't a goodbye, was a reckoning, a roadmap, a demand for truth. In it, he pleaded, "Don't let them lie about how I felt. Don't let them cry on television for a version of me they refused to hear." He named Janelle as the one to lead whatever came next. He asked that any remembrance be honest, not sugar-coated. And he signed off with a line that hit like a tremor. "I just wanted to be heard." That became the name Heard. A foundation for mental health and veteran support launched by the Brown children in Garrison's name. Gabriel took the first meeting. Madison organized the board. Logan handled the structure. Even Leon returned quietly, helping with outreach. Gwen offered her tech skills. And Janelle, silent but steady, watched her children become what Garrison never got to be understood. Unified scene. The launch was held at sunset in Salt Lake City. Over 500 guest veterans, therapists, family friends lit candles one by one, each flame of promise. No spot was saved for Cody, none for Robyn. That silence said everything. Gabriel took the stage, his voice cracking once, just once. "He was more than my brother. He was my reflection. He laughed too loud, loved too hard, and carried more weight than we ever realized. He asked us to listen. We didn't. But now I will be his voice." The crowd erupted in applause, but Gabriel didn't hear it. He was already walking down from the stage, candle in hand, toward a small plaque that simply read, "He was more than the silence." Behind him, the sky blazed in pinks and golds, as if Garrison had finally been heard. They expected a gentle panel on resilience. Instead, 800 women sat in stunned silence as Mary Brown long painted as the quiet, obedient wife stepped into the light and burned the mythology down. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't need to. Her calm was sharper than fury. Her words, scalpel precise. "I was never his partner in Flagstaff," she said, her gaze steady. "By then, I was a prop. But the performance didn't start there. It started in Vegas." She walked them back to the warm glow of cul-de-sac dreams and the cold shadows behind closed doors. That's when Robyn started rewriting the script. Mary said it wasn't just Cody falling for her, was her whispering. In his ear, "You deserve peace, not chaos." And somehow every one of us became the chaos. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. She told them how Robyn would quietly shape Cody's moods before family meetings, how she cried strategically, how she weaponized empathy until Cody couldn't tell the difference between being loved and being managed. And then the bombshell. One night over dinner, Cody and Robyn smiled at me and said, "Maybe it's time you start referring to yourself as the family aunt." It would be less confusing. Robyn sipped her wine. I excused myself and cried in the parking lot for 2 hours. Gasps, audible. One woman shouted, "No." From the back of the room, Mary didn't flinch. She won an emotional monopoly. She got it. But now she's shocked her empire fell, that her own children left, that we're done playing our parts. Standing ovation. Women rose like a tide, clapping, through tears. Somewhere in Sedona, Robyn watched live. She didn't finish the stream. She turned off her phone and didn't come out of her room for 3 days. 'Cause this time, Mary wasn't just heard, she was believed. It started with whispers, rumors of a sealed court filing in Coconino County. Then came the leak, a grainy PDF. Cody Brown, patriarch no more, had quietly filed for legal divorce from Robyn. But it wasn't just a severing of vows. It was a full ejection. It's the guardianship of her children, Dayton, Aurora, Brianna revoked, effective immediately. Robyn
The
found
more
out the
they
same way
wonder,
the world
why
did.
are you pulling away?
From a forwarded link, she didn't believe it. She called Cody, trembling. He didn't pick up for 3 days. She left messages, pleading, crying. Then came his return call brief, cold, final. She tried to ask why. He didn't answer. Instead, his voice cracked low, almost a whisper. "I hear your voice in that recording." Every night, silence. Then a click. The line went dead. And so did whatever version of love Robyn thought she had left. What followed was not rage. It was retreat. Her children, shaken by Cody's betrayal and their mother's spiraling guilt, packed their things in silence. Dayton was the last to leave. He didn't hug her, simply set his phone on the kitchen counter screen facing up. A text from Aurora blinked. "Can't fix this for you." Robyn sank to the floor of a home once built on promises. Now it was a shell echoing with betrayal. She once mastered, now consumed by. There were no cameras rolling, no TLC rep to spin this. The woman once called the real wife now stood as the legal stranger. The family she fought to monopolize dismantled. Not by Christine, not by Mary, not even by Janelle, but by the man she claimed to protect. And the haunting echo of a son she silenced. She walks alone beneath the harsh Arizona sun. Hair pulled back in a rush. Lips pressed into a line that used to smile for cameras. No wedding ring, just a bag of bruised apples and off-brand cereal. Her flannel shirt clings to the ghost of a life unraveled. The photo hits Reddit first, blurry, zoomed, but unmistakably her. Robyn Brown caught not in scandal, but in solitude. Behind her, stapled to a rusting light pole, a sun-faded flyer, flutters in the breeze. Missing cat answers to the name Shadow. She doesn't glance at it, doesn't look up, doesn't notice the metaphor that now trails her like an old regret. A shadow was once her toe lurking in corners, whispering doubt, dividing loyalties. Now it's all that's left. No mansion, no sister wives, no camera crew, just a woman in flannel disappearing into the edges of a town that stopped caring she ever existed. And now the cameras are rolling, but for how long? Season 20 might be the end or the ultimate rebranding of betrayal. If you're as deep in the chaos as we are, hit that subscribe button and dive into the truth they don't want you to hear. This is Amin and you're watching Celeb Today. Celeb Today.